So today, I want to talk about why Divinity Original Sin 2, this isometric turn-based RPG from a Belgian studio called Larian, is not just a great game, but genuinely one of the most important RPGs ever made. And more importantly, why you, specifically an RPG fan, need to play it. Whether you grew up on Final Fantasy, whether you're a Witcher head, whether you've never touched a CRPG in your life, this game is for you.
Okay, so the setup sounds classic. Medieval fantasy world, magic, gods, a big evil threatening everything. But the way the game frames it is different from anything I've experienced. You don't start as a hero. You start as a prisoner, a sorcerer, basically someone who can use a powerful magic called Source, and the world hates you for it. The Divine Order, which is basically this religious military faction, has decided that sorcerers are dangerous, collars them, ships them to an island called Fort Joy, and does things to them that I won't spoil, but let's just say it's not a spa retreat. And here's the thing, the central theme of the game is literally how your origins affect who you are and what chances you get in life. That's not marketing, that's baked into every single conversation, every quest, every interaction. The world treats you differently based on what you are. If you're an undead, people panic when they see your face. If you're a lizard, humans distrust you. If you're an elf, there are almost none of your kind left because of something called death fog that wiped out entire homelands. The writers managed to compensate for all the high fantasy setup by bringing their own spin. The world is dark and complicated, but it never loses its sense of wonder. And the story doesn't give you clean answers. The bad guys think they're doing the right thing. The Divine Order soldiers who imprisoned you, most of them genuinely believe they're protecting the world. You'll hate them and then feel guilty for hating them. That's good writing.
Now this is where Divinity Original Sin 2 really separates itself. You have 6 origin characters to choose from, and these aren't just lore blurbs. These are fully realized people with their own agendas, their own demons, their own quests, and their own unique abilities that nobody else has. You've got Fane, an undead scholar from a civilization that predates the gods themselves, trying to figure out what actually happened to his people. Los, a woman being slowly possessed by something ancient and terrifying who doesn't know when she's going to lose control. Sibyl, an elf assassin who was enslaved and is now hunting the man who did it. The Red Prince, a lizard noble exiled from his homeland, chasing what he thinks is his divine destiny. Each of these characters has dialogue that only they can have. When you play as the Red Prince, you get conversations about lizard politics and prophecy that just don't exist if you're playing anyone else. Playing as the origin character means you get to see interactions and make choices for their personal quests yourself. And this is actually one of the main things that incentivizes multiple playthroughs. And every single NPC dialogue in this game is fully voiced to the highest standards, which was a monumental feat for an isometric RPG that Larian actually delayed the game over to get right. You feel it. Nothing sounds cheap.
Okay, I know some of you are clicking off right now because I said turn-based. Stay with me. Turn-based combat has a reputation for being slow and boring. Divinity Original Sin 2 is the opposite. Every fight is essentially a puzzle. Before you even take your first turn, you're looking at the battlefield. Where are the oil barrels? Is there high ground I can use? What are the environmental surfaces I can exploit? The toughest encounters force you to scout the battlefield, position your characters properly, and use the terrain to your advantage. Sometimes that means teleporting enemies into groups. Other times it means smashing oil barrels and fireballing the whole field. You can combine elements. Water conducts electricity, so if you freeze an enemy, they're immune to electric damage. But if you thaw them and then shock them, you get massive damage. Fire plus oil equals an inferno. Understanding how elements interact with each other and the environment is core to both puzzle solving and combat. And you can combine skill schools too. You craft new skills by combining skill books from different schools. Mix a Hydrosophist book with a Necromancer book and you get Blood Rain, or with Source Magic, the even more powerful Bloodstorm. There are over 200 skills across 12 schools. You are never locked into one way of playing. The game is so full of possibilities and encourages so much experimentation that it sometimes feels like it's daring you to break the system. And when you do break it, it feels incredible.
This is the part where most games lie to you. They say your choices matter, and then you pick option A or B, and nothing actually changes. In Divinity Original Sin 2, you can kill any NPC without losing progress. You can talk to every animal, even ghosts have secrets, and I mean that literally. The game has a spirit vision skill that lets you see and talk to the dead. You walk into a room and suddenly there are 10 ghosts there, all with stories about how they died, all with unfinished business, quests you would have completely missed. You can pickpocket the blacksmith, steal his key, unlock the basement, find a hidden quest, and do all of this completely silently without ever speaking to him. Or you can just walk up and talk to him and get the exact same quest through dialogue. Both paths exist. Both are valid. Different characters interact with the world differently. Your outlaw character might poison the arena fighters before a fight. Your scholar character can decipher books to open secret passages. Every background tag, every race, every choice opens different doors. There is absolutely no filler. It may be hard to believe that a 76-hour game has no padding, but there are no boring battles or tedious quests.
Here's something most people don't realize. You can play this entire game in co-op with up to 3 other people, online, split screen, even with controllers. And co-op in Divinity Original Sin 2 is not like co-op in most games where someone drives and everyone else rides along. Players can pursue quest objectives separately, making the co-op gameplay more tactical and immersive. And disagreements on quest progression can actually trigger in-game disputes. So if you want to spare someone and your friend wants to kill them, the game makes you argue about it in-game, which leads to some of the funniest and most memorable moments you'll ever have gaming with a friend. The conversations are still fully voiced, the story still hits, and the tactical combat becomes this chaotic collaborative thing where you and your friends are figuring out which elements to combine and who's gonna teleport that enemy off the cliff. It's genuinely one of the best co-op experiences in gaming, full stop.
Your first playthrough will run about 80 to 120 hours, and people who've sunk 700 hours into this game still find things they missed. 6 origin characters. Each one changes how the world responds to you, changes what quests you get, changes which conversations are available. To experience most of what the game offers, you'd realistically need 3 very different playthroughs. And then there's the Game Master mode, where you can literally build and run your own campaign for your friends, like tabletop D&D, but in this engine. The modding community is still active. There are fan-made campaigns that are genuinely good. GameSpot called it one of the most captivating role-playing games ever made. IGN gave it 9.6. Game Informer called it one of the greatest PC RPGs of all time. This wasn't a fluke. 7 years after release, it still sits at 95% positive on Steam from over 80,000 reviews.
If you love story RPGs, The Witcher, Dragon Age, Mass Effect, Divinity Original Sin 2 gives you that emotional investment, but with a world that reacts to you at a deeper mechanical level than almost any of them. If you love strategy games, XCOM, Fire Emblem, the combat here will scratch that itch while also telling you a genuinely good story. If you've never played a CRPG before, never touched Baldur's Gate, never played Pillars of Eternity, this is honestly one of the best entry points. Even with no prior knowledge of this universe, you feel at home. The lore is accessible without being dumbed down. And if you've already played Baldur's Gate Cree, which Larian made right after this, playing Divinity Original Sin 2 is like watching The Apprentice before the Master. You can see every idea that eventually became Baldur's Gate 3 being developed here. It's fascinating as both a game and as a creative document.
Look, I could keep going. I haven't even talked about the armor system, or the fact that the game's final act basically turns everything you thought you understood upside down. Or the endings, plural, each of which hits differently depending on how you played. Divinity Original Sin 2 is one of those games that reminds you why this medium exists. It does things that movies can't, that books can't. It puts you inside a story that bends around your decisions, your character, your playstyle. If you're an RPG fan and you haven't played it yet, I genuinely envy you because you get to experience it for the first time. Go play it. Definitive Edition. You can thank me later.